Okay, so I've never shot a video and posted it on YouTube before, so there's a first time for everything. And that's what we're going to do here today. It's the first time install of a washer and dryer into a Brinkley Z3100. Now most of the hard work has already been done, mainly getting the equipment into the rig. And I put down a moving blanket on the stairs, shoved it up the stairs into the rig, stood it up, tilted it, and put the moving blanket down again for the next flight of stairs, bringing it up into the bedroom. Before I did all that, though, I did remove the door to the bedroom and got it out of the way because it's about a ½ inch short of, or not wide enough to get the washer through. And as you can see on the bed are some other panels and doors that I've taken off from where the washer and dryer are going to go to. So let me move in closer here. The bottom shelf that was there, it just lifts up from the back and you tilt it sideways and it slides on out. Of course, the doors were removed here, and on this next shelf right here, in order to get this one out, you do have to remove at least one of the doors to get it so that it lifts up and clears these corners. I did get the other shelf out, and I did have to remove both doors to the closet. Both top and bottom sets are now removed. Before I go into more work there, let me go over some of the stuff that I purchased. I have two dryer vent kits. One is black, the other one is white. And the reason why I got one of each is because I don't know where it's going to come out on the other side. Is it going to come out where the decal is, or where the fiberglass gel coat is at, where it's white? So I've got one just in case, and I can take one of them back, whichever one I don't use. Next, I've got the flex hosing for the dryer. This is rigid vent flexible hosing. I just have a preference of this over the soft aluminum stuff, because when you're going down the road, I don't need that slinky stuff wrapped in aluminum to be going wappa 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 and make a hole in it. So I'd rather have the rigid tubing on there. Also got two clamps to attach it. Got the floor mounts for the washer, and I've got the top mounts for fixing the dryer to the washer. Also got different hoses. I prefer the braided hose, especially going down the road. Don't want it bouncing around, rubber rubbing up against something and wearing a hole in it. And the last thing was, I got these 90 degrees only because when I look inside the opening here, there's not a lot of room with regard to where the hoses would attach and where the edge of the washer is going to go. So I felt it would probably be better to have some 90s on there. I don't know if I'm going to use them or not, but that is why I have those. If I'm sitting around the house, I had a water alarm. It's been sitting around the house. You can tell the plastic is yellowed out, but it still works. It runs on a 9-volt battery, makes contact with water, and it gives you a real loud audible alarm. And then I also got a drain pan to go with it. This is a drain pan made by the makers of the washer, and it does have, it's weird because there's part of it's been cut off, and you're supposed to screw them together with butyl tape, and that's going to stop it from leaking. At any rate, it's a weird design, but I'll work with it. And then there is a drain hole in the back, and that's a ½ inch. So because the fitting in the back is close to the wall, I decided to go with the 90 degree barbed ½ inch that goes in here. So I'm going to get started in here with opening the access. Now this door does say access to cut hole in sidewall for dryer installation, as you can see. But a lot of people are using this as the dryer vent hole, which, no, that's not what it's made for, because the vent on the dryer is on the left side of this wall, not the right. And there's not really enough room for you to run the venting material from the left side over to here and out without it getting smashed against the back wall. So I'll be putting in a 4-inch hole over on the left side for the exhaust, and it'll run over to that right there, which Brinkley says is the spot where I'm supposed to drill. Here, we got the pan in with this piece that you use butyl tape and these screws, and you screw it down to the floor. I put it sort of off center only because I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room between the washer and the hoses and the off-on valves and the water dump from the washer into the gray tank. Went back here and notched the back of the back wall, and only to find out that there's no place really that you can run the drain to, because right about where that hole is about where my my front cap is. So it was very interesting trying to find a hole, and I decided I am not punching holes through the outside of my rig. And there, now we're moving on into drilling our hole for the dryer exhaust vent. And you notice I'm not putting the washer in yet, only because I want to be able to stand in this area if I need to for when I'm running the exhaust vent. All right, so we're outside, and as you can see, I've got tape over where I'm going to be drilling my 4-inch hole. We put the tape down on the gel coat to help prevent any type of splintering or chipping that might occur. But you can see my little tiny hole right in the middle, and that's where I'm going to put the hole saw through and come out on the other side, hopefully without hitting anything else. All right, so we're outside, and as you can see, I've got the vent cap and the vent itself installed up underneath here. I used 5200, which is my go-to from when I was on boats playing around with fiberglass and gel coat. But this is Fast Cure 5200. I will tell you, it is a little expensive, but I've never had any problems with it not sticking to gel coat. So that's what I have on the outside. I put that around the actual cap as well as the vent that's up inside. So 2 seals there to keep the water out. All right, so the duct is in as well as the flex hose. And you can see it just sort of bounces around there. I'll stretch it out, bring it on over to the other side here, which is about where the dryer exhaust hole is going to be located. Okay, so the fan or the exhaust is all in, and the nut is tight, and we are ready to move on to putting the washer in next. The only thing I have to do still for the dryer is cut a hole over in this corner, but yeah, I can do it now, but I'd rather wait until I have the dryer up on top of the washer so I can see exactly where the hole will have to go. So that'll happen after the washer's in. So for the dryer, what we need to do is we need to remove these hold down bolts. There's 4 of them, and these hold the tub in place during shipment. There are 4 of them, and that's the next step in this process, and then we'll be able to loosen or tighten up the back legs and put the washer in, level it, and then put these little jewels on. These will go on the front legs to hold it in place. So when you go to remove the shipping plugs, unscrew them about this far, which is where you can just about get to the threads, and then just work it back and forth, and you should be able to get the whole shipping plug plug out without any fuss or muss. Now, just because I know if something bad will happen, it will happen. So these two magnets that hold the bottom cabinet doors in, I'm going to take those off. Just because, knowing my luck, I'll be sliding the dryer or the washer over it and I will rip them out. So make sure you remove those. Okay, the next thing we got to do is take the kick panel off. As you see, I've already done it. All you're going to do is, when it's up here, when it's mounted, just come in with a flat tip screwdriver on the outside here and towards the center, and on the other side push down and pry the kick panel back and out, and it comes right out. And that's so that we can get a little add-on, the cabinet magnets on the bottom side. I gotta take those off too. So here's my recommendation. On the connectors on the side for the water, use 90s. The ones in the back, I don't know if you can see it, probably not. Use the 90 connectors, because there's not much room back there. That is if you're using the braided hose. If you use the hose that comes with it, the black rubber one end has got a 90 built into it, and the other one doesn't, in which case, like these, you can see that it's a 90-degree turn. That'd be great for the back because there's not much clearance, but the sides also need a 90 because these are just too big for that little opening down there that you probably can't see. It's all shadows. There we go. So my other recommendation is on the Splendid pan. Don't get it. It is a waste of time. If you can find yourself a pan that actually fits versus one from Splendid that's all cut up, get it. Okay, found my light. So now you can see the 90s that are down there. All right, and how in the back there's literally no room. So recommend 90s there. On the pan, the problem you run into is the metal straps that hold the legs down. They're too large for the pan, so you have to run them up underneath the butyl rubber, and then you have to find the hole for them, and then you wonder if the butyl rubber is actually going to make a seal, and it's just a royal pain in the butt. So I would recommend using either a different pan or not one at all. But as you can see, the machine is operational, which is a plus for me. And I did check the back, and there are no leaks. That's another plus for me. The amount of noise the washer is making when it's in its final spin mode, I don't know if you can hear it. But it's not that loud. So continuing on with the installation, this time with the dryer, I'm removing the rails that were inside the cabinet, so it'll make installing the dryer that much easier. Simple screwdriver, stick it in, pop it down a couple times, pry it out, that's all it takes. The good thing is that Brinkley did go on ahead and paint behind these things, so it's not an eyesore. And after that, we are going to put the exhaust for the dryer right about here. I've done my measuring off of the dryer vent itself, and I've got to come up 4 inches from the bottom for the bottom lip of the exhaust vent, and 3 inches on this side right here. So I'll use the dryer, or correction, the washer, as a template as far as how far to come over and how far up to go. So that's where we're at. So I've got my my hole measured for the exhaust duct, and I'm going to be using a 5-inch hole saw cutter. And yeah, so it's going to be 4 inches up from the top of the washer and 3 inches in from the left side of the washer. And I just put those measurements up on the back wall, and that's the circle, and that's where we're going to go and drill, baby, drill. All right, so the hole's been drilled, and we used a 5-inch hole saw, and the tubing is just a little over 4 inches. So yeah, I'm off 1/8 of an inch on one side and 1/4 of an inch on the other, but the hose will still come through and match up with the dryer. And yes, a good way to prevent all that nasty from going back behind your washing machine is to put down a towel like this, and it collects all the shavings. Okay, we're moving on with the dryer installation, and try to put the dryer in without removing this faceplate, which is what the door is all attached to and lock in place. And couldn't do it because the roof in the back is slanted. So you have to take off this board, and there's 2 screws on either side that are holding it in place, and in order to get to the second screw you have to take off the board that's in front of it, that one. So you have to take off the little one, and then the bigger one has 2 screws on each end. I've already loosened them up so I can just slide it on out, and now we're ready to slide the dryer in and hook up the vent tube. Okay, so got the dryer in place, which was a little bit more consuming than I thought was possible. Make sure before you put your dryer in, hook up the vent, plug in the electric to it, as well as make sure that the water connections for the washer are turned on. Otherwise you'll have to pull it down and start all over again. Ask me how I know. All right, the next thing is I also had to pull out the center support beam here in order to get the dryer in, as I mentioned earlier, because the top wall is slanted and you just can't put it in. So I'm in the process of putting it in now, and of course there's no room to get in behind it, so I've got to use a itty bitty ratchet with a number, I don't know, something millimeter drive on the end of it. But if you start with it out like this flat, you can at least get 2 of the 4 screws in and then tighten up, and it makes it a lot easier when you have to do the last 2. So that's where we're at so far. Yes, the pan was and still is a pain in the wazoo. Here again, if you can find a pan other than the Splendid one that comes in 2 pieces, do it. This thing is a piece of, bovine fecal matter. We'll call it that and leave it at that. All right. Okay, so the dryer install and washer install are complete finally. I turned on everything and everything works like it's supposed to, which is a good thing. Now, a couple lessons learned from this ordeal, because there was nothing available, and so we live and we learn. So a couple things. First one is this crossbar right here. Take it out. Take it out, and the support bar behind it, only because it gets in the way when you do the install of the dryer. Take it out ahead of time. Also take out the bars that are along the sides. I don't know if you can see that one or not, except that big one. Don't take that one out. This one right here, don't remove that one. This little one down here that the shelf was sitting on, and the one on the other side, I would say remove those. They don't do anything with regard to the dryer and the washer. It also just makes it look cleaner. The bar up top, remove it. I put it back in, but further forward, so that if I want to get my shirts and hang them up when they come out of the dryer, I've got something to hang them on right there. And I don't know, maybe I can hang a towel over it, but something to have there. The vent in the back, as I said before, use the rigid vent. I found that when I put the dryer in with the rigid vent, the entire vent slid back through the hole very easily. If I would have had one of those slinky, lightweight, boinga boinga type of hose on there, I'm quite sure it would have gotten crushed. So here again, use the rigid one. I've got one that was 8 foot long. I needed 3 feet of it coming out of the wall to the dryer just so I could hook it up. Plus you have 3 feet on the back side, so there's 6 feet right there. So here again, a rigid 8 foot long hose will work fine and you won't end up being short. The side mount for the power to the dryer, the plug is inverted. I have no idea why. So it plugs in upside down. The other thing is the water for the washer. I had turned them off when I got done playing with the washing machine, and I forgot to turn them back on. So after I got the dryer installed, I went, oh crap. So I had to pull the dryer out part way far enough to reach back in and turn the water on. And as you can see, as I mentioned before, there's not a whole lot of room in here to get your hand down for the hot and cold water turn on. Now, that wire you see hanging down in front of you, that goes to my sensor, and this is old school, runs off a 9-volt and goes down to the Splendid pan, which, as I mentioned before, and I'll repeat it again, that is the biggest piece of shit that's out there. I would not get one ever again. I would go without a pan before I put that piece of crap back in there. That's just my opinion, you know. But then again, I'm the one that installed it, and I had to take the dam off of it 2 different times. And you shouldn't have to do that. It should be able to go together properly. I mean, it's made by this outfit, and yeah, it doesn't. So that's the operation right there. I can't think of anything else to say other than, oh yeah, a couple things here, pointers for you on the latches. If you notice, there's a little lip on the front. Just push that up against the wood surface, and it mounts properly every single time. The doors, this screw right here, this little one, this will adjust your lateral movement, so that way when the doors are shut, you will get a nice even space between the doors at the top and the bottom. So that's how you adjust, and that's just in case you get them out of whack or you get them mixed up and you have to readjust them. So other than that, that pretty much does it.